What is up, everybody? How's it going? Ryan here, back with you again for another episode of This Week in Hearthstone. This is episode 27 for February, for Friday, May 10th, 2019, not February, my bad. Welcome, guys. Hope that everyone is doing okay. We hope that we stabilize and stuff like that. If you guys didn't know, we've been having some internet issues over here, but it seems to be all good now, and we are able to get an episode out for you, even though it may be a day later. At least it's still out and stuff. So we have some pretty good news to jump into and to talk about today, and we're just going to jump kind of right into all of that news and hope that you guys enjoy it. So first up, we do have the data report for this week. This is number 129. If you guys is first time in this podcast as well, we usually go through the verse meta report from Vicious Syndicate, as well as whatever the new brawl is, or whatever the brawl is for this week. Highly recommend for you guys to check out the episode description and check your show notes so that you can follow along with the data report as well, because we'll be covering just kind of the main bulk of things, but we won't be covering all the information that is applied to this. So first off, right as the report is released on the very top, it says, attention, a wild data report is scheduled for May 19th. So if you guys didn't know, that is the wild meta. The data report is usually for the standard meta, but it does look like we will have a wild report coming out on Sunday, May 19th. So that is that's pretty close by, about 9 days ahead. Remember that the wild reports only come out about once a month because of they needed to collect a bunch of games and stuff like that. Not ideal, but it is what it is, and we thank them for at least contributing and giving a wild meta as well. Overall, this report had 65,000 games, with 8,000 at 10 to 14, 32,000 from ranks 5 to 9, 20,000 from ranks 1 to 4, 2,500 at Legend, which gave us a 65,000 overall games played. It does look like the biggest deck that we still are seeing is Rogue at 22% across all rankings, while Paladin is struggling at 3.5%. So it does look like Rogue is still at the top of the most frequency classes played or whatever. At ranks 1 to 4, Rogue has reached 30% of the field, while the Legend meta is still early in the game. Lackey Rogue is nearing 35% of the field at higher levels of play. So we'll have to see how that ends up going or whatever. Warrior seems to be the only class that's well equipped to deal with rogues, they say, making it firmly established as the second most popular class, purely just to counter that. So a lot of matches at ranks 1 through 5 or Legend are, rogue matches, or possibly warrior mirror matches, depending on how it goes or whatever. Secret Hunter has grown a lot of popularity. It is a deck that we talked about last week. It's actually a really fun deck too. I've actually played it and really enjoyed it. It kind of loses some steam though, depending on how you play the deck. But overall, I think it has enough kind of like card cycle and board control to be able to get up there. I played a few games with it and I really enjoyed it as well. It'll probably be the deck that I stream with a little bit here. And mess with at the lower rankings as well. Its play rate is still very low. I feel like people are kind of like assuming that I'm going to be a Mech Hunter or whatever, which I believe Mech Hunter is still like pretty good or whatever. Druid's popularity is still down. Token Druid is still is stable, but it's very small at Legend or whatever. Shaman is still modest as well with Murloc or whatever, but nothing kind of crazy there. Paladin and Zoo Warlock are also very interesting. Warlock numbers have basically just gone downhill or whatever. It's disappeared at higher levels of play or whatever. It's struggling basically against like the rest of the field at higher levels of play. So basically, there's nothing really that Zoo Warlock counters. It was something that we mentioned last week as well. That basically the one thing that it does counter though is Token Druid, which Token Druid has kind of been decreasing in play as well. So we kind of just see it just not being a deck that's utilized very much, and it's kind of losing a lot of other matchups. And then at the bottom right now, it does look like we have Paladin, which is at the very, very bottom, with Priest as well. Paladin in itself had a pretty cool deck, Mech Paladin, but it's basically just the Mech Paladin deck is nothing really changed, and so because of that, it's just a boring deck to play, I think, for a lot of people. It still has a pretty good win rate, but overall, people are just not really utilizing or playing it that much. According to the tier list, out of all ranks played, Lackey Rogue is number 1 still with 52% power rating, frequency score 100, power score 100, meta score 100, with its weekly change being minus, like 0.5% basically on the rating. Bomb Hunter is coming in at number 2 with 52.66. Then we have Control Warrior at tier 2 with 51, Secret Hunter 51.59, Bomb Warrior 51.57, Token Druid at 51.19, Murloc Shaman 51.17, Conjurer's Mage 50.5, Zoo Warlock at 50.03. So that's for tier 1 and tier 2 decks or whatever. Secret Hunter kind of propelled up a percent or so, but either way, I mean, these are pretty close numbers. Some people are feeling the oppression from Rogue, etc., and from Warrior as well, especially Dr. Boom being a very frustrating card to play against. So overall, there hasn't been very much new decks, I would want to say, or whatever, but it does seem like the newest deck that has really come out of it is a Secret Hunter deck that we kind of dabbled or talked about a lot last week or whatever, but basically just utilizing Zul'jin, Unleash the Beast, Ziliax, Subject 9, Harrison Jones, Life Drinkers, Mass Contender, just a little bit of everything to kind of contest the board and try to fight off what they can with like weapons and stuff like that as well. Like I said earlier, I have played with this deck a handful of times, and I actually really, really enjoy the deck itself. I thought that it was a pretty good deck or whatever, and overall, I've been actually like really enjoying it. So I would highly recommend to play it or whatever. It has a pretty high win rate and stuff as well. Some people are playing with like a handful of different ways though or whatever. So some people are utilizing Baited Arrow in the 5-drop slot. Some people are utilizing Marked Shot as well, which this deck on screen does have or whatever. And then some people are just utilizing a bunch of different things. The Harrison Jones is kind of a tech card in to get rid of like weapon damage and stuff like that. But overall, it's a pretty fun deck. When Zul'jin pops off, it's pretty fun to see as well to get like a Christmas tree type of hunter. But yeah, this is kind of the deck that everyone has kind of been playing recently, or is at least the newest deck in the meta as well. But yeah, like I said, guys, go and check out the report. It is in your episode description in your show notes to get a full-fledged reading of the whole meta report. Next up, we do have a new brawl that came out Wednesday. When I mean new, it means a brand new PvP brawl. This one is called Henchmania, and it has a tagline: "The League of Evil is hosting henchmen auditions. Do you have what it takes? Choose who you'd like to work for and get a bonus." So this one is kind of a different style for the henchmen and stuff like that. It's actually kind of complicated, and I don't want to go through everything, but I kind of want to give you the general overview or whatever. There is a ton of henchmen. They're not all of the same. They are mostly of the rogue class, to be honest, so you don't have an equal representation of all the classes. You have Mr. Chu, who's a warrior, Candlebeard, rogue, Myra Rotsprings, rogue, George the Fallen, paladin, Manhunter Ivan, hunter, Voodoo Master Vex, rogue, Russell the bard, rogue class. You have Saphira Destructon, which is druid, and then you have Rathiath Ghost-Song, which is a priest. Each of them all have their own unique hero power that you can go through and check out as well. This does reward a classic pack, but on top of that, a special quest was randomly activated for this brawl, where you get a Rise of the Shadow pack by playing the brawl 3 times. So just play the brawl 3 times. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. Regardless of it, you will get a pack. So this week you will be getting a classic card pack as well as a Rise of the Shadows card pack. So you choose a hero and you're given a pre-constructed deck with a unique hero power. Remember to check out those hero powers first to see what they end up doing. On your first turn, you get to choose which member of the League of Evil you want to work for, and this gives your character a passive effect. So basically, this can change or warp, how your deck is played, how your deck is utilized, depending on what your hero power is, plus whatever your passive effect is. Keep in mind that both sides get to choose a passive effect, and both sides have the same 4 options for the passive effects. So the passive effects are: work for Hagatha. At the end of your turn, transform a random friendly minion into one that costs 1 more. Work for Dr. Boom. Give all friendly minions Death Rattle. Deal 1 to 2 damage to a random enemy. Work for Togwaggle. After you play a minion, add a coin to your hand. And Madame Lazul. After you play a spell, gain a copy of a random card in your opponent's hand. Remember that these are all passive effects, so you just do them and it ends up working out and utilizing pretty well. There's some pretty cool, weird, and wacky ways to utilize this as well. So get in there, play it. I played it a couple times. I try to play, every time I stream Hearthstone, I do try to play a couple of brawls before we jump into rank as well. Overall, it's a pretty fun brawl. It's pretty unique. It's new. Get in there and jump in and get both of your packs as well. Next up, they had an update for Fireside Gatherings for 2019. This was a blue post and I believe a blog post that was on the playhearthstone.com website. Fireside Gatherings for 2019. If you guys don't know what Fireside Gatherings are, these are pretty much their way of saying LAN events that you can host. Remember that we've talked about this a couple of times before. You can get Nemzi unlocked there. You can get the Fireside Brawl card back unlocked there as well, which is pretty cool. You can also now privately host Fireside Gatherings from your home, which are unlisted, that your friends can join and utilize, in as well. We've done this before, guys. Remember to open up our pre-order packs for Rise of Shadows and stuff like that as well. So they said that they'll be getting some new features in 2019. They said that they will be sending out more Blizzard themed care packages, and they will be more themed around expansions instead of being so generic. So if you guys don't know, some Fireside Gatherings, depending on how big they are or how popular they are, utilize or are able to utilize care packages from Blizzard, where Blizzard will send the person who set up the LAN event some cool free swag, whether it be like coffee mugs, plushes, usually all are Hearthstone themed. This time around, they said that this year they will be themed around whatever expansion. So Rise of Shadows, maybe you'll get some spookier, darker type of themed stuff. So that's pretty cool. They said there will be exclusive items available through Fireside Gathering, though some may become available later on. Not really sure what this means. This also could mean that physical items are going to be available exclusively through Fireside Gatherings, as in like physical swag and stuff like that. It also does sound like it might be talking about digital item goods as well. They just said exclusive items, so you can take that line for however you want it. They said pre-release events will continue through this year. The pre-release events, like I said, were the ones where you can open up your pre-order packs and then verse someone just using your pre-order packs, nothing else. They said that this will be continuing for each and every expansion that comes out this year. They said Fireside Home is essentially what unlisted Fireside Gatherings are. They'll have frequent reminders throughout the year on how you can enjoy them. So they said that, they're going to kind of rename it. Instead of Unlisted Fireside, they're going to call it Fireside Home. And basically, it's just going to have the same utilization as it did last, the past couple of times or whatever. They said that they want more people to enjoy Fireside Homes. We'll have more frequent reminders on how to do it. And they said a Fireside Home will be able to receive Nemzi if they fulfill all hosting prerequisites. This means having an established tavern. Learn more about how to establish a tavern here. Fireside Homes will be eligible for a Fireside Gathering card pack. You can create a Fireside Home and invest in event and host in the same day, etc., etc., etc. So they're going to be allowing us to utilize a little bit more, which is pretty cool as well. They also said that there is a Tavern versus Tavern, which hasn't come out since 2017 or whatever, and this will return at the second half of 2019. This will allow for taverns to like verse each other and stuff like that as well in certain events. And then lastly, they mentioned that there is a North American partnership now with all Microsoft stores to bring Fireside Gathering experience to a whole new group of players. They said that the Microsoft stores will now be hosting Fireside Gatherings monthly. So you can go to any Microsoft store that is in your area, and they will be hosting it on the first Wednesday of each month from 5:30 to 9 p.m. in that Microsoft store's local time. So, check your time zones and stuff like that as well. And then it says here that you can pre-register for these festivals and exact event dates and times at their website. So if you guys want to, you can go and check that out as well. Kind of sucks that it's on a Wednesday. For me, that's like something where I would probably, even if I really wanted to go, which I'm interested in going to one for sure. But even if I like was diehard and really, really wanted to go to a fireside gathering at a Microsoft store, the one closest to me is actually kind of far away. It's about 25-minute drive away. But then on top of that, it's from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., which I don't think that I would be able to go to at all. But yeah, that is the update for fireside gatherings. It's cool to see them having a lot of support. I'm really excited for the at-home fireside gatherings because we do utilize those and play those a lot with friends and family as well. So I will definitely be looking more into that. Big news though, and this is kind of the last article of the day. You have about 2 articles left, but they kind of bleed into one another. So we'll just say that it's one article. But we finally have news after they teased us about a week ago on the solo adventure that is coming to Hearthstone. It is called the $1 Heist, and it's going to launch May 16th, which is actually 6 days from now and right around the corner. It is basically next Thursday is when this is going to launch. I highly recommend to check out the Hearthstone chat video that is in the description. It's about 5 minutes, 5 minutes 50 seconds, 6-minute video. It's very, very short, and it kind of covers everything that is going to go on with this solo adventure. Remember, guys, that they kind of have reverted the way that solo adventures work. Instead of them now being free, they will no longer be free, but the way that solo adventures will be utilized is that they will have a fee to them. If you guys are new to Hearthstone, you may not remember, but back in the day, you used to be able to just pay $20 or about 700 gold per wing, and the wings would be released every single day or every single week, for X amount of weeks. So that is kind of how this solo adventure is going to work as well. So keep that in mind. You will have to pay about 700 gold per wing, which with the first wing being free, or you pay $20 for the whole adventure. Now, keep in mind that what they claim is going to be happening, and we'll have to see if this is true, is that because you are going to be paying a fee to access this solo player content, that the solo player content will be a lot better and more in depth than what it was previously. Now, if you do buy the solo player content for $20 or for basically 2,800 gold, what you will get is you will get 15 Rise of the Shadow packs. You'll also have the ability to get 2 card backs, one for heroic and one for normal dungeon. You will also be getting a golden card pack if you beat the solo adventure, as well as you will be getting a golden copy of Zala, which is the cloak that works kind of like Whizbang, except it will only have deck recipes from this adventure. So keep that in mind as well. Kind of a side note before we really jump into this or whatever, that free card back or that free card Zalal or whatever, the one that I just talked about, the cloak, you will be able to get a free copy of it if you guys just log in from May 16th, probably onwards for a little bit. We're not really sure when that ends. You'll be able to log on and just get a free copy of that card. It will not be in golden, whereas if you pay for the wings or pay with gold, you will be able to get a golden copy of it. So they said that like Dungeon Run in Monster Hunt in format, but it has way more content. It seems that they're taking the best parts of Monster Run and Dungeon Run and just utilizing it and making it better. They said that the second chapter will be able to be purchased right away after completing the free first chapter. We don't know how long the first chapter is. It seems to be more of an intro to kind of wet people's teeth and probably get them or convince them to play the solo adventure. But they said that chapters after 1 and 2 will be unlocked on a weekly basis. They said hero powers get unlocked through mini quests such as freeze 30 minions or draw 100 cards. And they said you can remove cards from your deck at Dalaran Tavern during your run, as well as modify your deck with special gold coins. So essentially, if you guys have played Dungeon Run or Monster Hunt before, you kind of know how it works. You get a unique hero with a unique hero power, but this time around, when you choose a hero, you will have an option to unlock maybe or utilize or play 1 to 3 hero powers, so you can kind of choose the hero power that you want to utilize. You'll be able to unlock these through mini quests, which will show up in the solo adventure as well and tell you how to unlock those. So you're going to have a ton of heroes, as well as, well, at least 9 heroes, but then each hero is going to have a different hero power that you can choose from, as well as there will be times in the game. Once again, we will go over this in more detail probably because we don't really know how this is going to work. But there will be times where you visit a Dalaran Tavern where you will be able to modify your passives or your abilities, as well as remove cards from your deck to create more of a synergy with your deck as well, which is something that's really nice. A lot of people's complaint with Dungeon Run or Monster Hunt was that you really couldn't control what was going on. You're like, okay, I want to go a spell heavy deck, and you get the buckets and it's not spell heavy, and so now you kind of have to figure out, okay, so I don't really know how this is going to work, etc., etc. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how these modifications do. It does work, I believe, like Monster Hunt or Dungeon Run, though, where you get a deck, you build it, and you try to go basically try to beat it all in one shot. If you lose against a guy, you lose and you have to restart and do it all over again. So keep that in mind as well, that it's probably going to take multiple takes to beat one wing. Also, each wing will have a special effect active, and that will be totally randomized as well. So that is something to look forward to as well. Lastly, and this is kind of bleeding into what we were kind of talking about or whatever, but they have announced that the new single player expansion on May 16th will be available to streamers early. And what I mean by that is a streamer event. So they said save the date for May 14th and 15th. 8 of your favorite creators, which we haven't even gotten a list of who those content creators are, will battle it out in a 2-day event showing off the new unreleased Hearthstone solo adventure. So they will be streaming it for a little bit next Tuesday and Wednesday, 14th and 15th. We haven't got any announcements on who those content creators are, but we probably will get some news soon. And then on the 16th is when it will be out for the general public. So we'll see how it goes. I may skip watching the event personally because I don't want any of the solo adventure spoiled for me. But if it's interesting enough, we might change our mind on that. Currently, right now, as I record this podcast, there is no way, by the way, to pre-purchase or pre-order the solo content. So if you were thinking of dropping $20 on this solo content, unfortunately, right now, there is no way to buy it. You need to wait for a little bit, I guess. There probably will be a patch out Monday or Tuesday, I would assume, where you'll be able to buy it. And there's no way for you guys, obviously, if you have gold or utilizing gold, there's no way for you guys to purchase that as well. Overall, it's going to be really cool. We will definitely be streaming this on May 16th. It comes out on Thursday, which is pretty neat. So probably what we'll do is we'll play for maybe an hour, hour and a half, and then we'll switch on over to recording the podcast and giving some thoughts on that. So next episode will be pretty cool. With that being said, that is it for this podcast episode, and I hope to see you guys next Thursday. As always, you guys should definitely follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/RyanKubo. Like I said, we will usually when we record This Week in Hearthstone, we have a pre and post content session. So usually if you guys aren't following me on Twitch, what you're missing out on is we do play Hearthstone. We do go through the brawl. Next week we will be going through the solo content and then playing that for an hour or two, and then we will be recording the podcast, so we get kind of a fresh take on what I thought of the solo adventure as well. So keep that in mind. Definitely follow twitch.tv/RyanKubo if you would like more Hearthstone content, as well as watching various other podcasts are on on the page as well. You can also follow me on Twitter or Instagram, also at Ryan Kubo, RyanKubo. And lastly, you can follow us on YouTube if you want unedited full VOD episodes that you want to see. YouTube.com/Shigeos Twitch TV. That's SHIGEOS Twitch TV. Thanks, guys, so much for hanging out. I'm really excited to check out the solo adventure next week, and I hope you guys are as well. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care.